Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Steve. He didn't give me a topic, so I'm going to my default plan B, talking about another Reddit post. I'm pretty good picking the most popular ones that get the most comments. But if anyone out there sees one you think would make a great topic, then just let me know. I've also heard from 3 people so far in the last month that my PayPal donate option on my YouTube channel has disappeared. So if you don't mind, I'd like to hear if you can still see it if you're watching or listening to this on YouTube. It would be on the top right on the desktop version. Now that the housekeeping is out of the way, let me get to the post with the same title as this video. How do you keep women away from you if you want to go MGTOW monk? I put a link to that Reddit post in the description. Of course, I could say obvious things like don't bathe, don't get haircuts, and drive a car that's falling apart and is older than the woman you're trying to get with. Women don't see classic cars. They see old cars. What I want to discuss is practical solutions to keep women away from you so you don't actually have to beat them off as they try to shove their tongues down your throat. But before I say more, let me first tell everyone about today's sponsor, Me the Sandman. If you want to get your hands on this Thought Tears mug, then visit my Teespring store down in the description. You can also get your hands on the Cure for Feminism t-shirt and classic tank top. If someone doesn't like it, then you can ask them if they're being Islamophobic. I also have a Sandman t-shirt, and 25% of the sales proceeds go to the artist, as well as the classic Sandman sticker and mug. You can also get the entire Sandman collection through digital download or USB key if you want through email. Those are the sound files for the first 5 seasons of my channel, so you can have those to take on the go. Each season is $15 US. Finally, you can also talk to me via one-on-one coaching through Skype for only $45 an hour. My contact email and Teespring shop are the first links down in the description. Anyways, now back to the video. So in the post I'd like to discuss, it was started by someone named David E. McNair, and here's what he has to say, and I quote, "Serious question. I recently went through a breakup and all the women at my workplace came out of the woodwork knowing that I was single again. I work in a high-stress environment and don't want to be entertaining small talk or getting unsolicited messages while working. I feel like I'm in a 90s chick flick where there's some sort of bet on who can land me for fun. I just want to be left alone and I don't want to be rude since they can make something up and go to HR and claim anything. How do I approach this?" Unquote. If I were David and I was trying to keep the women off my back, they were trying to get me to get them on their backs, what I would do is tell them that you found a new girlfriend. The next time you went out with his friends, all he'd have to do is take a selfie with himself and one of his female friends, and put that picture in a small picture frame on his desk that looks like it's been picked up by a woman. To all the women in the office, that would look as though he wasn't single again. Or for a laugh, you could always get one of your feminine-sounding male friends that can do a mean female impression to call you at the office and have a conversation with him pretending that he's a she. Women talk and all it'll take for 1 or 2 of them to overhear, and suddenly they would all be thinking that you have a girlfriend again. That coupled with the picture on your desk would surely keep them away from you. Other than that, there really isn't much you can do at work with regards to the vultures that are circling around and trying to create this sort of drama in the workplace. That's why for most of human history, men and women worked in separate work environments. But now companies are worried about looking like they're doing the right social justice-y kind of thing by having a co-ed work environment. As for that Reddit post, there are many different types of solutions that guys brought up, including wearing fake wedding rings. But that might actually attract more women than it keeps away. Apparently, according to one guy on there, he says that wearing a fake wedding ring just attracts the attention of especially crazy women. Another issue with wearing a fake wedding ring is, what if you accidentally wear it around people you know and accidentally forget to take it off? Then you have to deal with the awkwardness at work when everyone finally thinks they have the real reason you say that you're single. They'll probably think that you have a husband named Larry. Who knows, it might even get you promoted as they'll pity you for feeling uncomfortable enough to hide your imaginary gay husband from the office staff. Of course, this story doesn't apply to David. I'm just using it to show the dangers of wedding rings in strange places. The next good point on Reddit is from someone that says, all you need to do is keep your head down. Don't speak unless you're spoken to and just be indifferent. You're giving a woman the cold shoulder. But that doesn't always work. Women orbit the men they want attention from, and I've often found that the more you ignore them, the more opposites attract. And the more your center of gravity pulls the big-assed gas giant women with monstrous farts and queefs towards you. Careful, if she collides with you, you might get sucked in by her black hole. But seriously, if you ignore them and they just keep getting closer and won't actually get the hint, then you make yourself scarce. The next interesting point is to tell them that you live with your parents. Sure, that won't work in a place like Pittsburgh, Detroit, or Orlando. But if you're in Manhattan or San Francisco, then you have a good excuse for living with your parents. You're saving thousands of dollars that you can spend later. I've known many guys around here that have lived with their parents that got steady girlfriends well into their 20s and 30s. This only works if you don't live in a major metropolitan center like London, New York, Hong Kong, or Sydney. But in most places, women will expect you to be fully independent. Funny enough, most of the suggestions on Reddit to David are things that have nothing to do with his circumstances. They probably don't even read his comments and questions. I get this all the time in my videos. You guys read the title and see the thumbnail and instantly assume that you know what the topic is going to be. And then you start posting comments before even listening to the content. I can't wait to read the comments under this video to see how many guys will prove that they didn't even listen to what I have to say before piping in. One guy did suggest the same thing I said earlier about a photo of a girl on a desk. But I went one step further and said to get the photo with you and the girl. But he also says to make her a fiancé. But that's not very realistic because it often takes 6 months to a year to find a real one of those, so finding a fake one can't really happen all that quickly without drawing a lot of suspicion. Plus you're going to get women in the office place asking if you guys have a set a date yet, so you can invite them to the wedding. Then when you call off your fake wedding to your fake fiancé, you'll have to tell those women in the office that your wedding is off, and as a result you'll be back in the same place where you started, having to find yet another excuse to get them off your back. Other people tell David to look poor, which is a great strategy, if a woman doesn't already know you. But I used to think that the better strategy was to act poor, to not spend a lot of money around women, and that they would actually think you're cheap and wouldn't be interested in you. This always backfired on me, I guess, in a good way, because my cheapness was seen as me not wanting to spend money on them, and they would interpret this as me being higher status perhaps. Meanwhile, I just understood the value of a dollar. So if you buy lunch at your office, but don't offer anything to others, then women might see that as a mating call. The whole art of telling women at work, no, you're not interested, or women anywhere for that matter, is to do it without saying a word. Especially in this day and age with all the false allegations and Me Too madness in the working world. Some guys on Reddit say to just be honest, but a woman would probably see your honesty as actual dishonesty and might get spiteful because of it. Most women are rarely, if ever, honest or generous. So if you have those qualities, they'll most likely lose respect for you because they will believe you have lower sexual marketplace value, and you're simply being honest to make up for something. Another way one guy says to keep women off your back is to ask them for money, but that can also backfire in a good way sometimes as well. If you do it in a relationship setting and you have higher sexual marketplace value, then she's going to be the one spending on you, and thus you get a free ride, especially if you're good looking. But for the majority of men, it doesn't work that way. When I was in my 20s, I knew guys that borrowed thousands of dollars from their girlfriends, promised to pay them back but never did. The crazy part was these women that they were with were actually good women. They were thin, good looking, and bonded to them in their early 20s. It goes to show that when a woman emotionally bonds to you, she's capable of being nice. But if she's had more pipe lane in her than Super Mario has run through in the entirety of the Nintendo franchise, then you know there's a problem with the bonding ability. The final interesting story I read on Reddit was one guy saying to show emotional vulnerability or weakness. Yes, that works, because no one likes a weak man. Not a woman, not a child, not even a dog. But unfortunately, if you break down in tears in the office, people will lose respect for you. You'll end up potentially sabotaging your career and giving it to yourself up the rear. Trust me on this. If your girlfriend sees you breaking down emotionally, it will disgust her. You're supposed to be the strong one protecting her after all. As for ways to keep women away from you when you're not at work, I found that if you say things that are politically incorrect or offensive, it doesn't matter what you look like, people will always find a way to disappear. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be all that offensive. All it has to be is something that is cutting edge or too new for women to understand. Why do you think that women ignored nerds for most of the 80s and 90s? First off, they found them physically repulsive. But even the good-looking nerds were seen as weird, and women generally don't want to be seen associating with strange. Funny how things changed in the 2000s when women figured out that nerds were rich, because they could out-earn the blue-collar guys, and they also had college degrees. That's roughly when women started to date sexy nerds. You could still be weird, but you had to be good-looking. That was my experience. With the advent of online dating and Tinder specifically, they even rejected the nerdier men. I fear that in the future, if you want a relationship, women are getting so picky that it'll be seen as a luxury good. I guess you might say in the last few months I've increasingly taken the black pill and put myself in the perspective of the growing incel population out there. I see that community having the same energy that MGTOW did back in 2010 and 11. Just like the men's rights movement gave way to MGTOW, Now, MGTOW in some ways is giving way to a growing incel population. Soon enough, the majority of men out there won't even have to worry about keeping women away. They will be more worried about a thirst so bad that they'll have to work hard to even get the smallest bit of sexual attention from a chick. I can see this starting to happen with men that are part of the Zoomers, those born in the late 90s and early 2000s. Their dating experience is shaping up to be very different than the experience of MRAs and MGTOW generations of men before them. It could be wise for us to start following their channels to figure out how female nature is adapting to a new world where we're now starting to see hypergamy. Forget 80-20. It's increasingly becoming 95-5. The only way most guys will get a wife and kids in such an environment is if she gets baby rabies and queefs a couple of cooch critters out and then dumps you, so the quest for the unobtainable Chad can continue. I'm sure that many a young incel in their teens and 20s will get a good job and never have a girlfriend until they get hooped in their early to mid-30s by a woman that's seen more meat than a butcher shop, and she'll butcher your hopes, dreams, and love in a divorce court. I'm sure I'll be making a video in the next 10 years called, I was an incel and my first love divorced me. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks again to Steve for the donation, and I hope you enjoyed the topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that no modern woman wants to smash a modern man with bad BO. Unless, of course, they first bathe in soy-flavored soy. Bang the bell and check out the mystery link. Follow me on BitChute, Twitter, and Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on Minds and Gab to get the video for the day after tomorrow. This channel's been demonetized, so if you want to get back at corporate censors, demonetize them by taking away their ad dollars by installing the Brave browser. Link is down below. It also helps me out and you get cryptocurrency for viewing ads as well. You can also help me out through Subscribestar. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills, and remember, a red pill a day keeps the situation where you try and look unattractive to women and yet they find you even more attractive away. So enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.